something we noticed in the last few years is this definition and this new breed of organizational structure that we call exponential organizations. And we have a very specific definition for what constitutes an EXO, as we call it.
Yeah, so an exponential organization is at least 10 times faster, more efficient, and or more effective than a classic linear peer in the same industry. And they use different organizational techniques, structure, processes, culture, KPIs, people, etc. Plus, they use exponential technologies, for example, artificial intelligence, sensors, robotics, 3D printing, to optimize the organizational model.
The core metric we found is that you're operating as at least a 10 times better metric than your peers in the same space over a 4 to 5 year period, right? And so that's where the doubling over 2 to 3 times over a 5 year period, say, gives you that heuristic. We've now found over 100 such organizations operating in this way. Literally, again, this breed is just a few years old. The playbook for how to build a hypergrowth company just got completely rewritten. And so we've been looking at these 100 organizations and asking the question, what makes them tick? What are the characteristics, techniques, mechanisms they're using to scale so fast? Because we've just never seen anything like this. Let's run through the steps that it takes to create an EXO. Number one step is to go create a massive transformative purpose. We've mentioned this before. It's the kind of a compass guiding light. It's the problem statement framed as a tagline with a social purpose that captures hearts and minds, a community forms, a gravity well of interest forms, and hopefully you achieve the power of pull kind of concepts. The reason why we do this, it allows for coherent growth in a very fast-changing environment. It provides as a guiding light for the team as they're all making radical decisions. It allows for a more horizontal structure because everybody understands what you're trying to get to, and it allows for decentralized decision-making. It builds collective aspirations and builds culture, helps you attract and retain top talent, supports a cooperative, apolitical, non-political culture, drives agility and data-driven learning, and most importantly, probably lowers transaction costs for employees and customers around those. So for all of those reasons, creating an MTP is exactly why we should do it. Now that we've understood some of the implications of EXOs, we now turn to how do you apply it into existing organizations. For both of us, this was the most important aspect of writing this book. It's one thing to say, here are the characteristics of large organizations, but now how do you actually make it work? This is the central and most fundamental business paradigm shift that we've seen, as we've mentioned, since the Industrial Revolution. And all of our leadership skills are not set up for this, right? All of our leadership skills and all of our organization structures are set up to manage the status quo and operate in a predictable, stable environment where we have this ever-increasing quest for efficiency, globalization, etc. So now we're entering this new world. What does that look like? We've found in our research that there are several instances where you can actually take existing organizations and completely transform them. A great example of this is TED. TED was a nice high-end conference, about 1,000 people a year going to Monterey. Chris Anderson takes it over, and he does two things. He releases all the TED Talks for free, taking advantage of rich media and the social aspects there. And secondly, it allows anybody to go create a TEDx event. In 5-6 years, he's created a global media brand. Right? Nobody has ever created a global media brand in such a short space of time, and his cost of doing so is pretty much nil. And so there's an example of taking a plateaued, stable environment and just completely blowing it open.